Listen, there'll be a transcript generated, and I'll
transparent.
send it to you with a bow on it. You can read your own testimony just now. You have no idea what the fee is going to be ever. Mr. Schroeder, what about you? Your airline charges, sometimes it's $0 for a bag checked. Sometimes it's $99 for a bag checked. On a first, sorry, that's carry-on. Excuse me, carry-on. For checked bag, it could go from $0 to $138. Who knows what it's going to be? Why do you vary it so much? Is that fair to the consumer?
So it depends again on routes, and so there's just demand around that.
No, but that's not true. We're talking about people on the same flights. Their prices may vary by huge astronomical percentages. Why is that?
Well, that happens on airfare as well, and
It does, and I want to talk about that next.
I'll explain the model and how we think about things. So increasing ancillary historically has brought the fare down, and I brought up earlier that nearly 50% of people are not paying for a bag or a seat. We are providing options that people are deciding whether they want that or not. That is increasing the ability for people to travel
listen,
and travel
my time is limited, and I know the chairman, Senator House, want to ask more questions. I just want to point out to you that you are charging people for the same thing, one checked bag or one carry-on bag on the same flight. People are paying wildly different prices for it. They have no idea what it's going to be. I think people will be amazed to learn today that if they fly on your airline or yours, Mr. Klein, heck, the guy next to him may be paying $15 for the carry-on bag, and they may be paying $80. Last thing, Mr. Chairman, I know you're indulging me. I'll be really quick on this, but Mr. Schroeder, you just mentioned that you also use this so-called dynamic pricing for seats, for seat fees. Why do you make people enter in their age and their geographic location and their gender before they can even see the cost of a seat? Why is that?
That's been in place since 2014.
Yeah, but why? It's because you're using those personal characteristics to generate the fees?
No, absolutely
to generate the prices? Well, then why else do you require it? Mr. Klein, you do the same thing. Why is the gender relevant to what the seat is?
This is all information that's needed in order to complete the transaction.
No, it's not. Delta doesn't do it. United doesn't do it. You don't need somebody's gender in order to do it. You use it, clearly. You're using it to generate the prices, right?
We do not, sir.
It's not based on personal characteristics?
Not at all.
You don't use algorithms to set the price of seats?
That's a different question.
So you do use an algorithm, and you do make them enter all their personal information?
What's your definition of algorithm, sir?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, because algorithms are ways for people to be able to come up with calculations, which is a faster way. It's more efficient than a human being doing the same exact work. So, I'm trying to answer your question, sir, in all sincerity, and I don't know how else to answer it.
Thanks, Senator Hawley. We'll begin a second round of questioning, but before we do, I have to say, I hope your takeaway when you go back to your CEOs is that there is bipartisan frustration and even fury about the current practices. They simply won't fly anymore. Forgive the pun. They won't fly anymore because they conflict with the reality of what our constituents see in their everyday lives and what they consider fair, including the use of personal information to set fees or fares that differ one to another, same flight, same time, different people, different fees or fares. That's the net result. So let me just go into an area of questioning that I think is on everyone's minds. Is there any connection between these fees and, again, the reality of your costs? That would seem to be the justification for them based on your saying that your costs are increasing. In 2017, Scott Kirby, the CEO of United, testified to Congress that, quote, in 2016 at United, we spent about $1.9 billion carrying checked bags. Now, when this subcommittee asked United to provide an estimate of how much it spent to carry checked bags in the years since, United claimed it couldn't produce an estimate. And they even refused to provide the subcommittee with the number of bags you transport every year. This refusal to provide basic data about the costs of checked bags is common to every one of the airlines here today. Mr. Nacella, wouldn't you agree from Mr. Kirby's previous testimony that United is clearly capable of calculating how much it costs to transport checked bags in 1 year? He testified under oath to a congressional committee. He had a number then. Why can't you provide a number now?
Thank you, Senator. I think it's an interesting question. We just don't routinely look at the direct cost of doing that because it's a large cost allocation that could have multi-answers. So I haven't discussed where that number came from with Mr. Kirby, but I have not seen that report, and I'm unaware of that. I do believe it costs a lot of money to transport luggage. I'll give you an example. We're putting in a new baggage system in Houston. That baggage system alone costs $360 million to install.
Well, if it costs so much money, you must be able to provide a number.
Senator,
This is not just some minor, negligible amount. To the bottom line, it's a big number. Why can't you provide it to the committee?